this one a ride. Rhymes with grug.
That doesn't really rhyme.
I call this an air fryer. Rhymes with grug.
Ooh, I like that one.
I call this a Jordica.
What?
Rhymes with grug.
Where are you getting these things?
Call this one the Southern Border Crisis.
Oh!
Rhymes with grug.
Why are you doing this to me?
I call it cyanide. Rhymes with grug.
Please help.
I call this a bug's life. Rhymes with a grug's life.
All right, you know what? That's
And I
enough.
call this a...
No, seriously, please stop. All right, all your ideas are terrible. Just enough.
I call it curb stomping.
Ah! No. Rhymes with grug.
Grugged. Rhymes with grug.
I can't feel my anything.
And I call this an A10 warthog. Rhymes with grug. I call this one a slip and slide. Rhymes with grug.
There's only pain.
I call it a good dad.
Are you sure?
I don't understand any of this.
I call it peak. Rhymes with grug.
Somebody please kill me.
And I call this one rhymes with grug. Rhymes with grug.
The sweet release of death.
I call it style. Rhymes with grug. My bones. I call it
April 12th, 2036.
rhymes with grug. I call this a pixie stick. Rhymes with grug. And I call this one crude stew.
Does that rhyme with grug?
And I call this Battlefront 3. I want it. Now. And I call this a thug. Rhymes with grug.
On gang.
I call this one crippling depression. I call this a Part 49 leak. Rhymes with grug.
Stop.
And I call this one...
No, seriously, I beg of you. Please put an end to this nightmare.
I call it Xbox. I call this a hospital visit.
Stay away from me.
We're going on an adventure.
No!
I call it a pug. Rhymes with grug. I call it a Switch 2. Rhymes with grug.
Overpriced games.
And I call this one Rhymes with grug 2. Rhymes with grug. 2. The endless cycle continues. I call these younglings. Rhymes with grug.
Just pull the plug.
I call it dementia. Rhymes with grug. And I call this a job application. Does not rhyme with grug. I call it dementia. Rhymes with grug. And I call this an ender pearl. Rhymes with grug.
What did I do to deserve this torment?
I call this Afghanistan.
Ah! Why are we even here?
That's the question we were asking for 20 years.
Ah!
I call it dementia. Rhymes with grug. I call this one the moonwalk. Rhymes with grug. If we could curse on this channel, I would be. I call this a peanut allergy. Rhymes with... I call this cheating death.
What?
Rhymes with grug.
You came back from the dead just to keep torturing me?
Have you seen the views these videos get? We're gonna milk this thing for every drop we can.
Ah!
Yeah! Call this a mug. Rhymes with grug.
Ah!
Call this hair loss. Rhymes with grug.
Why am I alive?
I call it foreshadowing. Rhymes with grug. No. I call it arson. Rhymes with grug. I call this one Rhymes with grug 3. Rhymes with grug. Tree.
What?
Grug tree. I call this therapy.
So how have you been feeling since our last...
That one doesn't rhyme with grug either. I call this the entire Crudes movie. It's a good movie.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
I call it dementia. Rhymes with grug. And I call this one a grug. Rhymes with grug. Hi, Grug. Hey, Grug. Looking good, Grug.
Oh, why are there two of you?
I call this a chug jug. Rhymes with grug, Grug. Well, cool idea, Grug. Thanks, Grug. I love you, Grug.
Please let me die, Grug.
And I call this a shameless plug. Rhymes with grug.
Go to bluntbrosproductions.com.
And I call this running for president.
Grug Crude promises to be a man of the people, for the people. And he dreams of seeing our nation united as one, rhyming with grug.
I would like to let the American people know that my opponent is a frog.
Hello? Don't think. Vote grug.
I am Grug Crude, and I approve drunk driving. I would vote for you, Grug. Thanks, Grug.
I call it the atomic...